Hello, beautiful people. This is going to be a channeled message today, and this is going to be a message specifically for those, how do I say this? This is going to be about, not about, I'm trying to figure out how to encompass this group of people. It is for a very select, specific group of people. This is for people who have been going through a spiritual awakening to a level of where your identity has shifted. And I'm feeling like this is leaning a little bit more towards the healer spirituality side of things. Feel free to listen and take it how it resonates for you, but if you don't feel like you've had a huge shift in your life, identity shift, personality shift, persona shift, ego shift, if you don't feel like any of those things are you, then this is not your video. And I'm just going to say that straightforward, bluntly. That's what it is, and that's okay. That is totally okay. It doesn't have to be for you. And I've created this channel so I can speak on many different things, different topics, share personal things about my life, my experiences, but also channel and do tarot and oracle. So not every message and video that I create here is going to be for every single person. But now, with that being said, I know there's multiple names and different names for what people call it or what they identify themselves as, but like I said, it doesn't have to have a title. It could just be some sort of huge awakening and shift, some sort of perspective shift and change, at least one, but I'm assuming many, 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 because if you have an identity shift and you are showing up completely different in almost every area of your life than you ever have before, you're going to have, most likely, you're going to have more than at least one huge perspective shift or worldview shift. But again, take it how it resonates, and whatever doesn't resonate, toss it out the mother fluffing window, okay? Because even if this video and message is for you, maybe not every single thing resonates with you, and that's okay. But I feel like who I'm speaking to, I really don't need to say all of these things. I kind of feel like you guys are people who already either have your own practice in healing or medicine work. I'm getting medicine woman, medicine man. You already identify as this to some way, shape, or form. If you don't have a title of it, you still just, like, your soul resonates with helping, healing, guiding. And I feel like you have gone through so many different shifts and changes and understandings and realizations in your life that all of these little disclaimer things that I usually say in my other videos about masculine and feminine energies and good and bad, good versus bad, or, you know, like right versus wrong. Like, I feel like that you guys already know. So if I do say it, it's more so out of my own habit from saying those things in the videos as my videos find more people. But I feel like this video specifically, I'm gonna do my best to consciously not do over explaining, or not, as I'm doing it mother fluffing right now, try not to over explain things. Okay, so with that, let me just keep moving forward. This is so complex. I feel like there's so many layers to it, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna do my best. The paradox here is that you feel more comfortable around strangers. You feel safer around strangers to be yourself than you do with loved ones, with family members, friends, loved ones. And it feels like there's like some sort of emotional risk that you're taking by opening up and being your authentic self in front of loved ones. So let's walk through this, because this was a lot. This was a lot. I just feel like personally this message resonates with me in a lot of different ways. So I'm going to just, you know, be honest about that and that experience for myself. But I also feel like there's going to be a lot of people here that is going through, or has gone through, or is about to go through this same type of thing. Your identity, your literal identity, like how you show up, who you are, is different. And not just a little subtle difference, like it's completely shifted and different. I know that by turning my car off, my light's gonna turn off every 5 minutes, so just a heads up, you guys. But we can use it as confirmation if we want to, when it does turn off. But yeah, there's like this emotional risk, like you feeling like if you go to family members or you go to somebody and you tell them who you are, or what you're practicing, or what you believe, your new beliefs, your new understandings, that there's gonna be some sort of rejection there. And you might be right, you might not be. I mean, we don't know, right, until it happens. But your intuition or the wound of fear or a combination of both, right, tell you that there's going to be rejection in that. So I feel like there's this essence of like playing it safe while you are stepping into this role of healer, or whatever you're feeling called, or whatever your soul's path is, whatever feels aligned for you. You're stepping into that. And there's this integration process. There's this deep integrating what you've learned and those new perspectives and who you are and how you want to show up and who you're becoming. It's like, it's not like you just switch overnight. You might have some sort of epiphany or realization that occurs, and then the next day moving forward from that realization, you look at things differently. But it takes time to have repeated action or repeated situations of that realization that you had that led you to this identity shift. To see these things play out multiple times, and that's integration. You are watching yourself and learning more about yourself as you step into this new role. And others, like strangers who you don't know, it's almost like you give them free access. And this is not a shame or a blame. I'm just feeling it, like just feeling the energy here, and also sharing a little bit of what I've experienced personally too, as I go through my own journey here. But like, you allow strangers, people who don't know you, or have never met you in person and don't know your past other than what you shared with them, right? They don't know you, and you give them full access to this new becoming of you because it feels safer, because there's not like this emotional attachment. There's not wounds with those people that, where you've had them reject you before. You've obviously had a series of events from people that you love or care about that have rejected you. So it feels like emotionally risky to express and step into fully who you are, and this identity shift that you've had, this perspective, this awakening that you've had with people who have rejected you in the past, and it feels flippin' unsafe. Like, our brains evolved to protect relationships because belonging historically meant surviving. It meant that if you got kicked out of the tribe, you got kicked out of the cave, where are you going to sleep tonight? Where are you going to get your berries? like how are you going to fend for yourself? You need your tribe, right? So our brains have evolved to want to feel a part of a collective, of a tribe, of a family. And when you're rejected by that family, our primitive brain, it's still activated through those fears of, oh my gosh, I'm going to be rejected. I'm going to be shunned. What am I going to do? How am I going to fend for myself? Like, it feels scary. It feels threatening. It feels like sometimes even life or death. Like, you could be experiencing the flight, fight, freeze, or fawn. Like, your nervous system going a freaking haywire, and you're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. And you have this emotional attachment to these loved ones where you were rejected enough times, or in a large enough way that it emotionally impacted you as a kid or young adolescent, whatever age you were, where you carry that wound of emotional attachment with that specific person up into your adult life. Even if you do have these new perspective shifts and change, even if you are a healer, a seer, a mystic, you help others, you still feel stuck and attached and fearful of your tribe, your family not accepting you, not understanding you, not getting you, making you over-explain yourself or have to defend yourself all the time, where you feel unsafe. You feel emotionally unsafe. You feel dysregulated. Your nervous system's going freaking crazy. And even if logically your brain knows today that you're safe, that you're not going to literally die, like, you're not going to be kicked out. I mean, hey, let me be sensitive to certain situations, because I know there are some people out there that you literally would be kicked out on the streets or shunned or ostracized by your own family and loved ones by opening up to who you are. This also applies for people in the LGBTQIA plus community. So they're just stepping forward and being your authentic self can be flippin' scary, bro, because our primitive brain is like, yo, This means life or death. And then our nervous system is like, oh, fluff. And we might feel a little thrown off by it because around these strangers, whoever you are being open with, whether you have a business or you have a platform or you talk to friends and well, friends maybe, but friends and like friends of acquaintances of friends, like distant, like you're like, oh, I'll talk to your cousin's best friend's neighbor, but my sister, no, like can't talk to her, can't talk to them, right? But even if you logically know that you're safe today, it's like rejection still equals danger in our brain, in our body. And when we recognize that, that's when we can start to do the nervous system work. That's when we can start to like trace it back and say, well, where did that come from? Where did that wound, that fear of abandonment, of rejection, my attachment wound to that specific person, where did that come from? And you might have felt safer being yourself and this authentic version of you with strangers or people that hardly know you than being with your family. And if you're like, here's something that I was thinking about too, because my throat, I was not thinking about my throat, but throat chakra activation came up for a reason. It's like spirit sitting here saying like, speak your truth, bro. And obviously in your own timing, divine timing, as it feels right for you, but like spirit saying, hey, like, this is who you are, right? So like speak up. But I was thinking for myself personally, how this resonates and relates to me. My body responds differently with different relationships, with different family members, different friends, even if it's on the same topic. So for me, stepping forward into my authenticity and sharing myself, my beliefs, my understandings, my perspectives, each individual person, my body has a different, I'm getting ringing in my ear as I said that too, has a different physical, anatomical response that I've been noticing. And so I'm like, it's not just the topic of fear and wounding and abandonment that causes my body to go into fight or just into flight or just into freeze or just into fawn. There goes the light. It's different relationships, which is so crazy. It's so profound. It's different relationships, even though it's the same over-encompassing topic of stepping forward into my authenticity, my body responds differently. And I'm not going to list off each person in my life and exactly how, but I was just trying to understand for me, like, why is it not just fight or just flight? Like, why is my body having different nervous system reactions? And so for me, I was writing it down for myself, like what I was experiencing. So when my body is in fight, when it has to do with this topic of stepping forward into my authenticity, expressing my new beliefs, my understandings, my perspective changes and shifts, when my body's in fight in this scenario, I start defending my beliefs aggressively. Like I start being like, well, this is what I think and feel, and this is why, and all the things. And then there's other times where I'm in flight, where it's like, I start to respond by avoiding the conversation entirely. Like a certain person, there's somebody that I'm like, you're bound and determined to misunderstand me every single time. So I'm literally just going to avoid the conversation entirely. I'm going to make sure that I do not find myself in the same room at the same time with this person. Or if I hear anything slightly even similar to this conversation, I'm going to dismiss myself from it, right? And that's flight. I also find myself in freeze sometimes with a situation where I'm unable to speak or explain. Like I almost feel like everything that I've remembered, everything that's come to my understanding, all of my awakenings, if you will, it's like they're just gone. Like I'm just like, oh my gosh, wait, like memory erased. Like, I don't know how to explain myself. I don't know what to say. Or just like completely lost for words. Like I know what I would want to say, but I fumble over my words and then I end up just giving up because I'm like, oh my gosh. And even now as I'm talking, my body is trembling. It has a very powerful, like, dude, and not even just this fear that I'm talking about or the wounding behind feeling rejected and not accepted by our family, by our tribe. But like when things like this happen, our nervous system responds and it's telling us, it's giving us clues and hints. I mean, sometimes directly, explicitly sharing with us, this is your trauma, this is what's going on, and this is how your body responds. And when you're able to have that self-awareness and step back for a little bit, and just kind of be the observer of your own life and be like, okay, my body's doing this. I'm under this scenario with this situation, and just kind of break it down. You don't have to have a solution or an answer to it. You don't even have to completely find the answers to everything in that moment. But to start the process of recognizing when you're having a huge emotional or physical response, your nervous system's trying to tell you something. And that's such a huge key in how you can continue to move forward and heal, rather than staying stuck in the same cycle of nothing happening, right? Or the same thing happening over and over and over again. But the last thing that I've noticed with my body too is I also experience fawn. I'll notice that I start hiding parts of myself to maintain approval, which is, I don't like saying that. It's like, it feels like a betrayal of self. For me personally, it feels like a betrayal of myself, because who I've stepped forward as, I don't want to hide those things. Like for some people, I will openly be like, oh yeah, I meditate, or I do this type of practice, or I love using sage or whatever. And then with some people, I won't ever mention it, which kind of comes back to the whole like freeze. I don't know what to say. I don't say anything, or dismissive flight, where it's like, okay, I'm just literally going to avoid the situation. There's a combination here. But I do notice that sometimes I will like, oh, dude, I'm just going to be real. Okay, so like, I think it was a month or two ago. Wait, it was around Christmas time. So that was a while ago, because I'm recording this March. Okay, yeah. So like 3 months ago. But I remember I had this poster up of chakras and the alignment and the colors, and I was like learning a little bit more about it. And I had this poster up in my room, and I was like, I had my own little like notebook, and I was writing things out, and I left it out on my flipping table in my bedroom, which shouldn't be an issue, right? But I don't live alone. I have people that live in my house, and there's people that went into my bedroom, and I was like, so embarrassed that I like ran up past them, and I tried to like grab the poster and my 3-ring binder, and I tried to hide it before they would see it, so they wouldn't even know like what I'm doing. Like that I'm studying chakras. Like, why was I embarrassed? I don't know. I mean, I do know, but like at the time it was like, I felt like I was betraying who I was. Felt like I was betraying the becoming version of me. So anyways, I say that just to say, for one, to be relatable and to be real and just be honest with you guys, as I'm on this journey too. Like, I experienced this as well. So, and even now I can feel my body trembling, my breathing, like, it's a lot. And it's so crazy because I feel like there's more people in my life now who know this new version of me, or know of it, right? They don't know all of me, because I'm learning all of me. And I haven't even fully stepped into all of that and expressed it all. But I feel like there's more people, as far as like numbers of people, that know and accept and see me as the authentic version of me now, than the people that don't know me, or that knew me from my past and then don't know this authentic version of me. But it feels like there's it feels like heavier though. Even now I'm like messing with my ring here. It's like, it feels heavier. It feels emotionally heavier with those 3 to 4 people in my life that don't know anything about me. And it's just, it feels off. It feels weird. And so I was trying to really just dive deep and do some meditation and some journaling, and thinking deeply about like why this feels so heavy and profound for me in so many ways. And I'm so curious about it. Like, I'm so curious as to why my body responds this way, and why I feel stuck in fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And so I've just been trying to dive into that. So that's what this message is for. But it's like, other people have expectations of us. They see how we show up. They like how we used to show up. And even if they didn't like it, they got used to it, right? It became their comfort zone just as much as it became our comfort zone to show up the way we did. And then as you're changing and shifting and showing up so different in so many areas of your life, that is going to disrupt what other people expect from us. They're going to be like, hang on, wait, you mean I can't just show up at your house whenever I want to and vent about my life? Wait, you mean I can't just like beg you or blackmail you or gaslight you to come be at my social event when you've already said no and set boundaries? Like, what do you mean? Right? And so it disrupts what other people think and expect from us. And that's not right or wrong per se. There is a projection energy there, but just on the baseline fundamental area of it, it makes sense. You're changing. You've shifted in so many different areas, and you know that. So yeah, people are going to have expectations and realize that those are changing. It's kind of like if you work for a company and then new management buys it and all the rules change, and now your 401k and all of your investments and your retirement and all of that other stuff changes because new management came in. It's like you're still the same job, right? You still have the same position, but like you might be getting paid differently now. You might have different benefits. You might have different rules and regulations at that job. And there's new expectations now. And so you get to decide if you want to stay with the company and keep working there and deal with the new expectations, or if you're going to leave. And like other people could be thinking that too, just as you might be thinking that with other relationships. And others might unconsciously or subconsciously think like, this isn't who you used to be. You're changing too much. I don't understand this, or I don't understand who you are, what you're doing. Hold on, I wanted my coffee really late at night. Don't judge. I wanted coffee. People could just say, I don't understand what you're doing. I don't understand this. I don't understand who you're becoming. They might try to gaslight you or just like really push for you to defend yourself and what you're doing and why you're doing it. I mean, even the most loving families and friends can sometimes even react with confusion or fear. So that anticipation of rejection can be just as powerful as the actual rejection. I just feel like it's not linear. Like this healing of the wound, the fear, because yeah, that's what I was going to say. Thank you, Spirit. The fear and the wound, it's not just other people needing to adjust. I mean, they don't have to, right? But like the concept of it, it's not other people just needing to adjust to the new you of who you are and who you're becoming, your authentic role and who you're stepping in and stepping up as. It's also a deep wound of fear and or abandonment, or a fear of abandonment or rejection. So two things can coexist at one time. It's not always the other party who needs to fix and shift and change because you've changed, right? There might also be a deep wounded fear within you that your body is trying to also work through, understand, and maneuver as you continue to shift and grow and do the things that you do. I wrote a little note here because I knew that I was going to get nervous. I was going to get nervous as I talked about this. Well, let me just say it. So I've noticed that sometimes I choose distance over disclosure when it comes to this topic with specific people. Like I like to sit here and say, oh yeah, sometimes I just say the thing and I'll be very confrontational and I'll just, I'm not mean or harsh or trying to hurt people. I just will say the thing. Sometimes I can choose to be like, I would rather not be in that relationship or that friendship or that dynamic than to be rejected or to deal with the emotional lack of safety. I don't know if any of this is making sense for you guys, but man, this has been a huge eye-opening thing for me. Yeah. Anyways, I feel like I am pulling away from an emotionally unsafe relationship with certain people, with certain dynamics. It's emotionally unsafe. And I'm not just talking about like, it would be a hard conversation to have. It's like emotionally volatile, which then brings up other layers and levels to, well, why is this person in my life? Why do I allow this type of behavior? Or why do I allow myself to keep being a part of it rather, right? Because I can't stop other people from that, but I can not be a part of it. So oftentimes I think through it that way and I'm like, okay, well, maybe I'll just distance myself instead of getting involved in a volatile situation. I also feel like sometimes by pulling away, I have a protective boundary that is like protecting me from somebody who just completely disrespects me or won't respect what I'm sharing. There's a difference between like needing to understand it versus just having baseline respect for someone's decision for their life, right? So when I know that somebody just does not respect me or doesn't or isn't going to respect what I would share moving forward with my beliefs, my perspective, this new identity shift that I have, it's like I would rather just distance. And once again, that brings up the next question of, well, why, if it's that like I can't even talk. I'm trying to say volatile and hostile. If it's that volatile or hostile, why the fluff are they in my life, right? Like I can sit here and smile and be like, yeah, why? But it's not that simple and straightforward, right? And I know some of you guys are going to know that and recognize that because you're probably in dynamics similar to what I'm sharing about myself. And it's not simply just the fear of loss per se, it's the emotional tie that you have of loss with that specific person. Birth confirmation. You have had many different times where you felt like you've had to explain yourself needlessly, and you're tired of it. You're tired of having to always explain who you are, what you believe, what you're doing, why you're not doing something anymore, why you started doing something new, why you didn't share it with them, like why did those people didn't get to be the first to find out about, there's all these things of explaining yourself. And that alone can bring up not only just emotional dysregulation, but it can also bring up the wounds and the fears, which can also trigger like a feeling of unsafety and feeling of not being secure. I feel like who I'm speaking to, you lead by example through finding peace in life, peace, happiness, joy in life. You lead by example through that. So for you to find yourself in all of these situations or relationships or environments where you are feeling like unsafe or feeling like you always have to explain yourself, or there's a lot of emotional dysregulation or anything to that level, by you being in those situations, it's like not only are you going completely against and opposite from what you now stand by and what you choose to live in, which is peace and harmony and love, and to live by that and to exude that and to be that, right? Not that you're always that, we're human, but like you as a healer, you embody peace, you embody harmony, you embody love. So why would you find yourself consistently in relationships where you don't have peace, love, and harmony, and where it's literally the opposite? Stepping forward into who you are authentically to people that you love and care about, that you simply just want them to love and accept you. That's simply what you want, bro. Because if they did, even if they didn't understand you, if they were to have respect for it, they were to not gaslight or hate on you or project their fears and wounds, I'm sure you would go tell them, because you're somebody who lives by love, light, peace, and harmony. You don't want to invite anything less than that in your life. Although we will experience those things, you're choosing not to have relationships that are long lasting, or people in your life, in your inner circle, that are going to be the opposite of love, harmony, peace, and bliss, right? But all of these things, like feeling emotionally unsafe, or like people don't respect your path, or like you feel like you constantly have to explain yourself, or what decisions you're making, what you're doing, all of those things have an impact on your peace, on your sense of safety and your security. So oftentimes silence becomes a form of self-preservation. You choose to, or I can say for me, maybe some of you guys resonate, I choose oftentimes to distance or choose silence to self-preserve. I'm constantly questioning for myself personally, and maybe this resonates with you. I don't know. It doesn't have to. But questioning, is my silence or me distancing myself from certain people, is that me letting fear take over? Am I succumbing to my fear and my wounds? Am I giving up? Is that what I'm doing? Or is there something deeper to this? Is there more to it? And oftentimes, right, in the universe, usually flipping more. There's layers upon layers that we never knew that were there, right? But I struggle with finding the balance of knowing that there's probably more layers and more to something, or more to anything that I question in life. But I don't always need to uncover every flippity layer right here, right now. That's what I do. That's what I freaking do. And I get tired of it. So that's what this channel is here, of me diving into all of this the past 3 hours for myself, and then coming out and trying to speak on what I've been uncovering and thinking about and working through. Sometimes I feel called when I do these deep dives with myself. I get some sort of aha moment for myself, or some sort of a deeper realization, something I subconsciously knew, but now I'm bringing to the surface and consciously accepting as truth. It's like, oh my gosh, wait, I can't be the only person who's experiencing this. And even if I am right in this moment, which I'm not, but even if I was, there's more people that are going to experience this, bound to experience this at some point in their life. And so I just am here to just, expose myself and say what I experience and what I go through and what I feel. And maybe somebody else resonates with that, and maybe you're going through this too. Yeah, so like I was saying, is my silence and my distancing from certain people at this time in my spiritual awakening and my becoming and my new identity shift, is that me succumbing to my fear and letting my wounds of abandonment and rejection win? Or maybe that's not the right word, but like, am I giving up? Am I succumbing to it? Am I not being completely authentic? Am I doing something wrong? So that's where my mind goes. I don't know if yours does, but mine does. So I'm not necessarily, hang on, coffee sip. I'm not necessarily hiding, definitely not forever, but I'm not necessarily hiding or letting fear take over. I'm stabilizing internally first as I integrate myself into this new version of me, which is the most authentic version, the newest, for me personally, I'm just going to say the highest vibrating essence, energy of myself. I'm freaking adjusting. I'm adjusting to that first. I'm getting used to myself first before I go out and share it with the people that I love the most, that I care deeply about. And even if those relationships, inevitably, those people don't accept what I will eventually share with them, and they will eventually see, I still have to be whole and accept and understand to some level, maybe not 100% of the way, but I need to be able to accept and understand and step into who I am first before I share that. Like, because if I don't understand who I am and what I'm doing, how can I step forward and share that with others? So I see it as also like there's this integration phase, and there isn't like a set time where it's like 6 months to a year. I don't feel like this all happens all at one time either. Like, even if you're out of this integration phase and you're ready to share your whole self to everybody all the time, it doesn't all happen on Tuesday, right? You're not just like, I'm gonna call up everybody. I'm gonna call them all on Tuesday and I'm just gonna out it to everybody. Somebody could, you could, but it's probably not gonna happen. It might start on a Tuesday, and then the rest of the days after that, you're like, okay, yeah, maybe next week I'm gonna like emotionally restabilize after that conversation. But yeah, I don't feel like you're hiding forever. I don't feel like it's that. Although sometimes I struggle with thinking that that is me just hiding. But I think I'm so new to this, like understanding this new perspective of who I've, like this new becoming, this new understanding. I just feel like it's so new for me that I don't know really what I'm doing. Let me just be honest. I don't really know what I'm doing in life. Like, and for me, that's so scary because I used to like have everything so structured and know everything, and I'm getting even nervous. I'm playing with my rings again. But like, this is such a beautiful place that I'm in my life where I don't know what's happening, and I'm doing the best I can to go with the flow. And I feel like I'm doing the best I've ever done at going with the flow ever in my life, ever. It feels so good, but it's so scary. And it's like, well, if I don't know what I'm doing and who I am quite yet, I'm just following what feels right every step, every day. You know, like, how can I fully unearth who I am completely to every person, especially those who know me to the deepest level, who have been in my life and have seen me before the identity shift, right? I don't know. You don't have to agree. I'm saying right because it makes sense to me. But so what is this wound of fear, or what is this wound that is beneath the fear that we feel? I feel like for me, it's a fear of abandonment. It's a fear of rejection. It could be something different for you, but I feel like for a lot of you guys, it's going to resonate that way to some way, shape, or form. Like, you might have a really strong relationship with somebody. It may not even be toxic or bad or unhealthy, but it may not be something that you're like wanting to terminate, or you're done with this person, or you guys constantly fight and bicker. That's what makes it even harder, because you freaking love this person and they freaking love you, and they've seen all areas and versions of you, but this is such a new, vastly different version of you. The fear itself isn't always about spirituality or the not so worldly accepted title of healer, seer, oracle, mystic, shaman, medicine woman, medicine man, right? Like those titles aren't always openly accepted or well known by the public. It's not just that though. It's not just the stigmatizing title of healer or what that means, right? It's way deeper than that. The fear happened and was there before you even had some sort of spiritual awakening or identity shift. It was there even if you didn't consciously know it. We just want our family and our friends and our loved ones to understand us. And I feel like whoever you are, like you hold space for people when they don't get it, when they don't like it, when they don't understand it all the way, but they're willing to. But there's a difference between people who don't understand it and are kind of a little triggered by something or unsure of something, but they're willing to understand, or they're willing to give it time, or they're willing to be, like curious about something. I feel like you're somebody who sees the difference between somebody who is just curious and but a little triggered versus somebody who is simply just here to like wants to just reject you or just doesn't want to understand you. And it's scary, especially when it's somebody that we love that doesn't understand us or doesn't want to understand us. And I know it goes so much deeper than that for so many people, because I'm not going to go into it with this channeled message, but I am going to say just very briefly and lightly, like, if you grew up in a family dynamic where there was a lot of strict beliefs or different understandings that were very much like, this is the way and this is the only way and there's nothing else and we're not going to question it, we're not going to nothing. It makes it even flipping harder for you to open up about your spirituality, because not only do you love and care for this person and you want them to understand and accept you, but you also know that they're going to be completely against it or at least extremely triggered by it. And so for you to break out of that, break cycles, have the difficult conversations with those people, still stand forward in your truth and authenticity, hold space for love and curiosity if they choose to show up that way, but knowing that they're probably not going to, and knowing that that comes with rejection, knowing that that comes with feeling shunned or ostracized by people that you love, knowing that that affects your nervous system and puts you into a fight, flight, freeze, or fawn mode and makes your whole freaking primitive brain, primitive system go back into retreat mode and be like, oh my gosh, wait, I'm about to die. I'm about to lose everything, right? Like nobody wants to feel that, bro. With all of the extra added layers too. It's not just telling a stranger like some sort of controversial thing, right? You're not just being over here and being like, I'm pro this. There are people that you care about, that you love, that care and love for you. That like, there's just so many layers to it. So I do feel like there's an integration phase here where you are aware of how your body's responding. You're noticing the nervous system response and all of the things that are happening, your shortness of breath, body's trembling, whatever it is, you're noticing your body respond. You're checking in with yourself emotionally. Sorry for the flashes, guys. Also, sorry for my own freaking retinas over here. But I feel like this is like your soul stepping forward before your social identity has caught up. And sometimes silence isn't fear, it's incubation. It's an incubation period in that area. So you might have felt like, well, I know we've talked a lot about, and a lot of other people here, you might even be somebody who talks about this. Maybe you have a YouTube or some sort of way that you share your medicine, your truth, your light with others. But it's talked often about the metamorphosis phase of the caterpillar to the cocoon, to the chrysalis, to the butterfly, right? And I feel like in different areas of your life, you're in different phases. So it's not like your whole life, you're in this cocoon in this one area. And then in the rest of your life, you're the butterfly. I feel like there's different areas. So you might be the mother fluffing butterfly in like communication with relationships, and you've transformed and you're freaking glowing and flapping your mother fluffing wings, right? But you might also be in the incubation cocoon phase when it comes to dynamics with family or friends, or stepping forward into your authenticity, this new version of you that you're uncovering, that you're remembering. It's not always just this linear thing, as a lot of people like to portray it, that it's this straightforward trajectory of like, first we're this, then we're this, then we're that. It's not like that. It's not like that, especially not in the freaking spiritual awakening. It's not like that, bro. And I think that can be scary. That realization in itself can be scary. It can bring a lot of sadness. It's not talked about often. But when you have some sort of spiritual awakening, or you feel called to some sort of healer's path, that you realize that not everybody's going to walk with you on that path. You also realize that when you're on this spiritual awakening, you realize that some relationships were built on older versions of yourself, and you're not that anymore. You're not that person anymore. So those relationships that were built on, like foundationally built on those maybe masks of what you wore as your old self, or just things that don't resonate with you like at all. And if the relationships were built upon those things, like you guys both had, you and this other person both had some sort of trauma bond, and now you don't see yourself as a victim anymore. You don't see it as a trauma because you've been doing the healing, and this other person does, and you guys bonded through that, and now you don't have that type of victim martyrdom mentality, and they still do. No shame or blame. But if the relationship was founded and built on that trauma bond, and I'm just using that as an example, it could be many other things, but if it's built on an older version of you, an older belief system that you had, it's like it either has to be completely demolished and redefined and rebuilt, or it's done, right? There's like a death to it, and it's saddening and it's scary. And if someone were to know all of those things beforehand, before they have any spiritual awakening, they would be like, what the fluff? Why would you ever choose that path? Why would you ever do that to like leave behind everybody you've ever known and loved? And it's deeper than that, right? You know that it's not just literally picking up and leaving everybody that you know and love. But from the outside looking in, if someone has never had that experience before, they've never had some sort of shift or awakening where it literally changes their identity, and they're showing up completely different in the world, they're not going to understand the benefits, the pros, the beauty, the power, the bliss, the peace, the love, the harmony behind all of those shifts. But that doesn't mean that you're not going to also have hardship, that you're not going to also experience fear and rejection and abandonment wounds coming up as you're moving into this new becoming version of yourself. It's a huge realization. But yeah, historically, like shamans, medicine people, seers, they go through periods of isolation and separation. And that's what made me like come to this understanding, or this like aha moment for myself that was like, wait, even if I don't have a title for myself, even if I don't call myself a shaman or a seer or something like that, I'm still going through this like period of isolation and separation, because I'm stepping into myself. Like I'm stepping into who I am and my path, and everything is aligning with that. And although my social identity may not have fully caught up, everything about me, my energy, my internal wisdom, my soul is all stepping forward. And if it has been historically known, and that is what is not necessarily required per se, like it's some sort of law or rule, but there is this internal soul's calling requirement in a sense to strip away the old. And in order to strip away the old, you have to recognize what the old is, what doesn't align anymore. And in order to do that, you have to have a different like an observer's view from the outside of you. And in order to do that, you got to step away from the situation and scenario you're currently in. You can't see things differently if you're in the exact same place, in the exact same situation, right? So you have to step away. So there is this isolation, separation period where you can reflect on what does not feel aligned with you anymore. Not have any other distractions or energies or people's opinions or anything being thrown at you or dysregulating you or anything at the beginning. And that beginning place and phase is something that either you're currently in or you're about to move out of. And it's less so about the numbers of people seeing you. It's more so about who is seeing you and how they are accepting that or rejecting it. And there's a fear tied behind it. So after you're moving out of this isolation period, this integration period, I mean, we're always integrating in life, right? But this phase, this integration phase from this spiritual awakening, this calling that you've been on, and stepping outward and sharing who you are authentically. You've gone through this integration cocoon phase, this incubation phase, or you're currently still in it, but you're about to exit it. And so you're starting to feel this like pressure and this energy bubbling up of excitement, but also just like, oh my gosh, fear and excitement all happening together. They're coexisting together in your body. And you can feel these shifts and changes, but you're like, whoa, hang on. Like, this is really heavy. And Maybe a portion of you subconsciously was like, okay, if I make all the changes everywhere else outside of my inner circle, outside of the close people in my life, that'll be good enough. Could the inner work and the boundaries I've been setting and the cycles I've been breaking, can that be enough? So that these last few people in my life that I love and care about the most, or have known the longest, I won't have to deal with that right here, right now. And then it'll just kind of fizzle out and float off into the ether. Maybe. That'd be cool, right? That'd be cute if that could happen. Maybe this bus will just take them away with love. There's a period of isolation, and it's not because you're hiding, it's because your identity is transforming, and it requires the integration time to do so, and that is what you're in. That is what you've been doing. But it's so cute and really cool that you're being curious and questioning if this is a wound or fear or something to look at, because that's where growth comes from. That's why you were called into the position that you're in. That's why you can handle this type of teacher-student energy combination of coexisting here. I've said the word coexisting many times in this message here. Like, fear and excitement can coexist, but so can you being your authentic self, but also not fully showing all areas and aspects of you to every single person right here, right now. They can both coexist, and it doesn't have to be a right or a wrong. I question sometimes if I'm not being completely open and sharing everything I'm doing and all of the stuff that I'm becoming and all of these new perspectives and understandings that I'm having. If I don't share every single thing and I don't divulge it out to every person in my life, am I abandoning myself? Am I not being real? Am I not being authentic? And it makes me ask that question. And I think that's so powerful and beautiful if you're asking similar questions to yourself and trying to uncover the wounding and the healing. Because I feel like you're somebody who's used to the healing work. Like, you know how to, like, you're a flippin' master of it. That's why you help and guide people, because you immerse yourself into your own healing, into your own patterns, and you uncover things. You experience them, you learn lessons from them, you integrate them, and then you literally embody them to help share, teach, and guide to others. You're so good at it. But I know for me personally, sometimes, like I was sharing a little bit earlier in this message, sometimes I struggle with knowing that there's always healing to do, but not always having to uncover every layer and have to heal all at once right here, right now, just because I have the free time, just because I'm emotionally, like, in a space where I can do that, because I finally flip it up and feel at peace right now. But I feel like if you've been coming from a place of feeling unsafe in any way, shape, or form in your life, you've been coming from a place where you feel unsafe emotionally, physically, mentally, financially, whatever, any of it, all of it, and you're finally feeling safe and at peace now, oof, does it rock your mother fluffin' world to be like, hang on, time out, I feel unsafe again. And then questioning whether you're in fight or flight, or if you're having some sort of like fear response and you're letting it lead the way, or if you've backtracked, or if you've fallen off the track, or all of these things. Are people going to come out to get me? Are they going to hurt me? What are they going to think about me? What's going to happen? All of these things. Because if you've been coming from a place of fear, your body, your nervous system still is working through or in that place. And I don't know if it ever does completely leave out of that, but I do feel like we become more aware of it. We recognize when those triggers come up, and we're able to work with them more efficiently. And the more that we do that, the more practice we get with that, the better we get at understanding and analyzing what our emotions are at that time, what our nervous system is telling us, what our body is telling us and feeling. But I know for me personally, coming from a place for many, many, many years, honestly, I can't even think back of a chunk of time longer than 2 years where I felt safe. I haven't. My whole life I have not felt safe. And so being in a place now, the past year or so, where I felt safe in almost every area of my life, and I felt safe, it is really triggering to tap back into that feeling of unsafety. This realization, when you're going through all of these layers and you're asking yourself these questions and you're uncovering wounds and fears of abandonment and rejection and all these different things, and you're sitting with them, you're maybe writing about them, The realization will often lead to one of the outcomes. An outcome where you either decide to have the honest conversation with this person or these people, that you haven't fully opened up or divulged who you are, this new perspective in life that you have stepped into or that you now obtain or have. You have this honest conversation with somebody. That's one option, right? Another one is redefining the relationship, and I spoke on that a little bit earlier. If a relationship is built off of, foundationally built off of, an old version of you that is no longer existent. Man, my throat is really being triggered right here, right now. Why do I feel like I need to come back and speak on honest conversations as I'm coughing? Earbud confirmation, something with that. Spirit's like, you're catching on, Eleanor. But yeah, so having honest conversations or redefining the relationship. Sometimes you need to strip it all down and start from the ground up. And other times, the other option is letting those certain relationships fade. But that does happen. So one of those things eventually does happen, where you choose to have the honest conversation, or you choose to redefine the relationship, or you let the relationship go. And you do none of these things out of anger, but out of alignment for yourself. Tummy confirmation, growl. You're not doing it out of anger, out of hate. You're not doing it out of comparison or hierarchy. Anything but that. You're doing it seriously from a place of love. First, a place of love for yourself, but also from a place of love for this other person. Because if you're constantly a trigger for them, and there's constant toxicity or neglect or rejection or hate or any of that being tossed back and forth in the friendship, the relationship, it's benefiting both parties to no longer be in that relationship. So it's also helping and aligning for the other person as well too. And you're doing it out of love because you don't want to perpetuate anger and hate and violence and unsafety or a feeling of unsafety. You're doing this from a place of love deep down. You're doing this from a place of alignment of what feels right for you. Light, mother fluffin' confirmation. All right, so last thing I'm going to say here. Authenticity can feel like standing at a crossroads between self-expression and belonging. Like you want to step forward in who you are and what you want to say and how you just want to show up. Your authenticity, your self-expression. But you also want to belong in your tribe. You want to feel a part of a family, a collective, a tribe. You want to feel like people get you. So it's like this beautiful but very difficult crossroads to be at in spiritual awakenings or any type of identity shift as you step forward into your authentic self. And that can be difficult. And sometimes the bravest thing that someone can do is to slowly learn that two of those things can exist at the same time, to have self-expression and also to belong. And even if someone doesn't want to accept you or rejects you, that's okay, because you do have people that you do belong with or that belong with you or that are aligned with you. And that's not just to toss out this relationship or person that rejects you and just said, oh, well, they're nothing because they rejected you. No, but you have your boundaries. You have love and care for yourself now. You're in a place of peace. You're in a place of feeling safety and prioritizing that. So the people that will be aligned with you energetically, vibrationally, will be matched to you. You guys will find each other if you have not already started to find some of those soul tribe. You can feel so free, so beautiful, so powerful, so confident in yourself, but at the same time, it can coexist where you feel self-conscious, where you feel fearful, you feel scared. You feel like, what if you're not enough? What if they don't accept you? Both can exist, boo. And you're not right or wrong for either. You're in a phase and a place where you are learning and becoming, and you're also unbecoming. And that's this beautiful journey that you chose to be on. And not everybody chooses to be on it, because yeah, it is hard. And yeah, it is sad. But it's also so beautiful and so rewarding and so worth it. And what you gain and learn in this process of stepping forward into your soul's calling, your authentic self, your authentic nature, you step into that, and that is so revitalizing. It gives you life, it gives you new perspective, it gives you meaning and purpose behind who you are and what you do. And there's nothing that can replace that. There's something that's so beautiful and freeing about that, but it doesn't negate the old life that you leave behind. It doesn't take away the grief. It doesn't take away the sadness or the loneliness or the fear, but it does. It highlights all of those things, all of those wounds, all of those fears. And guess what? What a beautiful gift that we get in this human experience to get to feel all of these things, to experience growth, to experience loss, to experience love, to experience life, to experience harmony and bliss, and all of the experiences that we get. Some people choose to be in the same cycle and they experience the same thing over and over, and that's great. And maybe that's what they choose, and maybe that's their path. You've chosen not that. You've chosen to break free from that. So you get to experience all of it. That's why I laugh, because it does kind of seem like a little bit of sarcasm there, but it's like, no, really, truly, like, how beautiful is it that you get to feel and experience, and that you get to experience both spectrums of all things. You get to experience the loss, but how much you gain in love and life and self-esteem and confidence and self-worth. So yeah, you chose a hard path, and bro, you be doing it so beautifully. You're doing it so good. Your bud, mother fluffing confirmation, whoever you are doing it so beautifully. You're not doing anything wrong, okay? You are just in this incubation place where you are integrating everything that you have walked away from and all the newness that you are absorbing and becoming. That's a lot of integration. That's a lot of emotional work. That's a lot of physical work. And it's impacting and having an impact on everything in your life, especially your social life, with relationships and other dynamics. So yeah, I mean, I wish I could like offer advice. I don't know if I really have advice, because I'm still kind of navigating this through too. But for myself, I was just talking about what can I do through this? Nervous system work. Nervous system work is what I can do. I can breathe. I can be present. I can sit my little butt down. I can turn on some frequency music or some lo-fi or nothing and just listen to my breathing. And I can just be present. Being present is the most beautiful gift we could ever have. Do grounding practices. You can do somatic work. I also love to do that. I love to do somatic work. I like to do somatic jumping and stretching, and you can look that up if you'd like to. I'll go into that maybe with another video sometime. Journaling. That's been a huge thing for me the past month. Journaling, and journaling specifically on the fear of rejection. Journaling about that, where that's coming from, which relationships you have that has something to do with, like fear of rejection, right? Because not every single person do you have a fear of rejection, but some people you do. So journaling on those people, those relationship dynamics. Building a supportive community. And by doing that, it's by you stepping forward into your authentic self. Like I said, vibrational match here. Like, you guys are going to find each other. This whole soul tribe is finding each other. I mean, if you're on my page here, you found us here. Like, we're all right here. Hi. And there's more of us finding each other as we step forward and as we exude and embody that vibrational, high vibrational energy of growth, of love, of light. And we do build a supportive community of people who do support you and understand you and don't reject you. Also, sharing slowly with safe people first. If you do have people in your inner circle or in your life that you feel are safe, or that maybe you're not as emotionally attached to, or you don't have an emotional attachment wound with, sharing who you are with them first. Because the nervous system needs consistency. It needs multiple experiences and examples of you showing up as your authentic self and not being rejected for you to start to feel safe. And it has to start somewhere. And maybe you started with strangers. I know I have. Let me just say, like, hey, I started here on YouTube before I shared what I do, who I am, what I've been becoming, before I shared that with anybody in my life. And I've been on the process of slowly sharing that. So I wrote that for myself here. It's like starting with people that you feel safe with to share that with. And maybe it is somebody you don't know super well, but you don't have that emotional attachment and you feel safe, or you feel some sort of distance enough where you can share that with them, and start there. And the last thing that I wrote here was self-validation practices. So telling yourself that you are not a hypocrite, or that at least is not your intent, and you can sit there with love and curiosity and check in on your actions and your behaviors and what you're doing and how you're showing up. But ultimately, this is not about you blaming or sitting here shaming yourself. This is just asking questions and validating yourself for what you're feeling. I feel scared, and that's okay. And like maybe like rubbing on your shoulder or giving some sort of inner child love to yourself, speaking with a softer tone or lower voice, or just holding a blanket or a stuffed animal that you love, even if you're freaking 62 years old, who cares, right? Listening to some of your favorite childhood music, validating yourself that what you feel is normal and it is okay, and you're not wrong for it, you're not bad for it, you're not doing anything that is hypocritical or that is not being true to yourself. You're in an incubation period of where you are integrating all of this newness, and you are learning, and you are stepping into the newness first for yourself to adjust so you can step out and be that person in the world. You can be yourself in the world, right? But there's this integration separation period, and that is okay. That both emotions and wounding and doubts and all of these things can coexist at the same time while you're in this beautiful phase, and while you're also acting as the teacher. You are the student in life, learning through all of this stuff, and you ask these beautiful questions as a student does, as a good student does, right? But you're also the mother fluffing teacher. And you really truly have mastered, this self-awareness of recognizing when you feel out of whack, when your body feels a little bit uneasy. You have really truly mastered that, and you continue to keep doing that, and it's just going to seem more like second nature, like a flow state. It really will feel like a flow state, but right now it might feel a little forced that you're having to stop and regiment it and be like, okay, I feel this way, let me journal. And stop, I feel this way, let me breathe, right? It might feel very segmented and regimented right now because you're learning and integrating it, boo. But it's going, as you continue to keep doing this, you're going to be so flippin' good at it. You're going to be like, wait, what? There was ever a time I didn't recognize when I was sad or scared? You know, like, you're almost going to forget that there was a time that you didn't know how to recognize those emotions within your body or yourself, and you didn't know how to work through them, and you didn't know that you could work with that, and that you could pull yourself out of those things and through those things, let alone teach others how to do it, right? There was a time and place that you didn't know how to do that, and you didn't do that, and now you do that. Whoa, growth. That's crazy. Last thing I'm going to say, I promise, last thing. You're learning that authenticity is not only about discovering who you are, it's also about finding the courage to be seen by those who knew you before you remembered who you were, before this identity shift, before everything that has shifted in your life. Finding the courage to be seen by those people, that's also part of this process and stepping into your authenticity. And sometimes the silence that you carry or the distance that you choose from certain individuals is not weakness. It's actually the sacred space where the new self is forming. And I think that's beautiful. You're in a beautiful incubation period right now. And I feel like most of you guys, if not all of you guys, can feel this pent-up energy, like you're about to break through the egg, you're about to be reborn, you're about to step out of the cocoon, you're about to just exit this incubation period and be seen, be fully seen by everybody. The truth will be revealed. And I know that sounds scary, that can always be scary, but that's, if that brings up a fear in you of like, oh my gosh, I gotta hide, I gotta retreat, that's your nervous system telling you something, telling you, hey, hi, you are deserving of being loved and being seen and being validated and being heard. And it's okay to express and feel what you're feeling right now. And just offering yourself love, offering yourself that the love that maybe you didn't get, or maybe you wanted more of, or that you didn't know how to offer yourself, or you were never shown how to get. It's a beautiful opportunity to just look at it with curiosity and love, and to offer yourself even more love in a time where you feel scared and you feel like, oh my gosh, everything's about to happen, because it is, boo, it's about to happen. And it's scary, but it's exciting. Don't let that fear take over, and you're not going to. But this is just saying, like, the fear can coexist with the excitement and with the newness and with the shifting and the changing. It can happen simultaneously together, and it's not wrong, and it's not hypocritical, and you're not wearing a mask, you're not doing anything where you're not enough. You are being beautifully you, and you're showing up as real and authentic and as raw as you can, the best way that you can, and you're doing a flip-a-dippin' great job. Boo. All right, well, thanks for letting me talk, you guys. And if this resonated with you, I would love to know. But I know not everybody likes to comment, especially in this group of healers and people in this specific collective. I can understand how we like to just sit back and just kind of watch. But if you feel so inclined, if it did resonate, I'd love for you to like or share with somebody who you feel like this message would resonate, or literally just put a little heart in the comments below, just so I know that it resonated with you to some way, shape, or form. But I can feel your guys' presence whether you comment or not. I love you guys so much, and you guys are doing amazing work, beautiful work, and you guys have chosen a really difficult path, but you are strong and you are capable and you've been doing it beautifully. And I'm just going to be here to keep cheering you on and reminding you, just like you guys do to cheer me on and remind me that I'm worthy of this type of celebration and love and support from you guys too. I'll be on this journey with you guys. So I love you guys. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your night or day or whatever mother fluffing time it is as you're finding this video. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.